Welcome to the ISB show. I'm your host Sahil here with Rahi and Roy. We have reached the finale of the ASEAN Championship. What a ride it's been, boys, for the Southeast Asia region, which we're covering today. And in the end, Rahi, you are correct. Vietnam won, but what a thrilling final match. A lot to talk about.
So much drama in this game, in this tournament. This game had everything this tournament has had, which is always a big own goal, another big own goal that turns the game, and golazos. Some incredible goals by Thailand. But ultimately, Roy, the team that deserved to win this tournament wins it in the end. The player who deserved to win this tournament is on the right side. Unfortunately, devastating injury. We'll talk about that in a second. But in the end, Vietnam wins. They deserve to win despite the drama.
Yeah. This was one of the most dramatic games I have ever seen in my life. This was so mind-blowingly intense. What shocked me, I'm going to start with what shocked me. Okay. What shocked me is Thailand started the game with caution, with trepidation. Yeah. I did not expect that. We talked about in the last video how Thailand needs to come out. They're at home. They need to press hard. They need to go all out, try to get an early goal to tie up this home and away series, but they didn't. They went scared with tremendous trepidation. They walked in and I'm like, what are these guys doing? They're terrified to attack. They're terrified to move forward. They're terrified to make mistakes. And what happens? Vietnam scores the first goal, but my goodness, Rocky, that second half was from another universe. I couldn't believe it.
Good response though from Thailand. I think, like, kind of what you're saying, Roy. I think they got punched in the face early on, and then you think, okay, is this the knockout blow? But Rahi, man, those two goals from Thailand. We'll talk about the second goal in this right now in a second. I think the first goal by Thailand, Mr. Ben Davis. What a golazo!
Yeah, Ben Davis, not the Welsh one. This is the Thai version. No, I thought that they pressed, right, and so when things aren't going your way, when you're down the goal and you're in a bit of a tough situation in the final, sometimes hard work pays off. And that press worked, right? They pressured Vietnam into a big mistake that turns into an incredible goal. So really, you have to applaud Thailand for that ability to just work and find a way back into the game. And then that second goal, Roy, that a lot of controversy.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because it was a golazo. It was a golazo, but the lead up to that was obviously an incident where the Vietnam player gets injured, goalkeeper throws it out. Thailand says, "No, man, we're still playing. We're still playing," and then they get the goal, and then that shifts the momentum of the match.
Yeah, and before that, I like my fun facts. Yeah. Ben Davis. This is an interesting little stat. He's technically Singaporean, and he is the first player in history to sign for a Premier League club. Can you guys guess which Premier League club? I will give you a hint. It's a legendary club with a tiny stadium where one of our favorite Americans played.
Fulham. Craven Cottage.
Fulham, got a 2-year academy scholarship to Fulham, and you could see it in his game. You could see in the way he attacks. You could see in the way he moves that this kid had an interesting upbringing in the sport of soccer, and it's his 2 years in Fulham. He went to Oxford United, where Marcelino is from, our Indonesian friend. But just want to throw that fun fact out there that there are some interesting players on this Thai team as well as the Vietnamese team. But that second goal, guys, let's give Thailand a massive round of applause. I think they just won the Fair Play of the Year award. FIFA's most prestigious award goes to Thailand. Let's go. Let's go, Thailand.
Mr. Supachok winning the.
You think they didn't notice? Do you think they because do you think they thought that the goalie just kind of whiffed on the throw out, or do you think they knew what they were doing?
I think they knew what they were doing, my friend. Okay. I think they knew very well, unless they got this. No, they knew what they were doing. Okay. They knew they had a decision to make. Fair play or get that goal we're so desperately fighting for. They chose the latter. They said, fair play out the freaking window. Fair play is very secondary. I'm not trying to be a nice guy today. I'm not trying to be sweet to my opponent. I'm trying to bring home a championship. And I understand the mentality. Sometimes your brain ignores everything else and you're just trying to win. So I understand where that came from 100%. It's easy to judge them. It's easy to hate on them for doing what they did because it's ugly. It's ugly to see these things happen in sport. It's beautiful to see the opposite. We see it all the time when on YouTube highlight videos when a player isn't actually fouled and the ref calls the penalty and the player goes to the ref and says, no, that wasn't a penalty. That's the beautiful side of the sport. But in a final, man, do we expect that to happen or do we expect what actually happened to happen?
Why did they VAR it? That I didn't understand. What are they hoping to find in the VAR? I mean, it's the intention. Yes, morally incorrect. We have to overturn this goal. I didn't understand why.
I think the ref needed time to think about it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a tough position for the ref, and I always don't know what do you do as a ref in that position because theoretically, there's nothing in the rule book, right, that says you have to, so it. Strange. Have you ever seen something like that where the ref has gone and called it back? Can he even call it back? I suppose he could. I don't know.
The fair play isn't a rule. As far as I'm aware, these are not rules. It's not a rule that you give the ball back to your opponent after a foul or after any situation like this or drop ball. That's not a rule as far as I know.
Yeah.
You can technically score it. You can just lob it over into the opposing team's goal. And I don't think there's anything the ref could do about it. I might be wrong. Let's get our intern to check these facts.
Yeah, get the intern.
Intern.
Yeah, where's this guy? But you know what's funny about that is after that, you thought, okay, Vietnam's going to be very upset. They might go and get like a red card or something like that. And in the end, it's Rahi Thailand, a Thailand player that makes, really a ridiculous, couple yellows in a short span of time.
Yeah, that turned the game for me. All the momentum, all the indignant feelings on the other side of the pitch. You have to feel that if you're Thailand, you're at home, the crowd is buzzing, you're in the ascendancy, another goal, and you're gonna win this final, right? And then I think that red card really turned the game because all of a sudden you go from being everything in your favor to momentum the other way, and then the tying goal when it does come is very fortunate. Very fortunate. Pansa, who's like the rock for Thailand, sticks his leg out a bit strangely, but it's unfortunate. But at that point, you felt there was no coming back then for Thailand. And I do think the red card, just a mental error, Roy, and you can't do that at that stage.
Yeah, mental error, and it destroyed the team mentally, as it should. You're fighting so hard. You're on the verge of achieving something monumental for your country, and then you go down a player. But how did Thailand react? Did you guys see the last minutes? They played. It felt like hockey, man. They played with their goalkeeper up, so they still had 10 field players. They still had the numbers, and the goalkeeper just pushed up. It was beautiful to see. I loved seeing teams just go crazy in that way and take such a massive risk. I just wish Thailand would have done it from minute one. I think we would have had a different. I'm not saying I wanted Thailand to win. Part of me did because I guessed in the last video. That was my prediction.
Predicted Thailand,
so maybe it was a pride thing.
Yeah, but they hit the bar at the end, right? Like so they had chances right there at the end, and so that was a fascinating thing. Credit to Thailand. I mean, they really played. This shows you why they're they've won this tournament so many times, right? And they're the defending champion because it was a fantastic comeback from them, and in the end, just a few incidents here and there changed the course of the match. But of course, the story of today is Vietnam, and they had to also win it for the player of the tournament, guys, right? Mr. Win Swan Son, who unfortunately wasn't even there for that because he had to be taken away based on the injury.
Yeah, sad. It reminded me a bit of that Euro final in Portugal one where Cristiano was on the sideline injured and you felt they won it for him, right? That's what it kind of felt like because this guy was the player of the tournament hands down. He nearly single-handedly took this team to the final. Almost, I thought he was going to win it for them single-handedly in this game as well. Scored 2 goals in the last leg. The guy was on fire, and he just made his international debut for them in this tournament. I mean, the sky's the limit for what he can do. So impressive, but to see him go down in that way, you really feel, Roy, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but it could be a while. I think he was taken to the hospital. I think it was one of those things where he wasn't even in the stadium and when they did win. You saw them holding up his jersey, but you got to feel for him, but you got to also acknowledge what a player we discovered in this tournament.
Yeah, it's very sad as a fan of this beautiful game and as a fan of this incredible region and this tournament to see a player, because this is what players dream of. They dream of having a performance like San did in this tournament. Why? Because international eyeballs, international attention, it's going to increase your transfer value. It's going to get you interest from clubs around the world. I would not be surprised at all if teams across the championship in England were looking at him. I don't think Premier League teams, but championship is extremely high level. It would have been an incredible move for him. But with this injury, this kind of lays that to bed, because now he has to go from phase one once again show that he's the same player after the injury. It's so sad. It's so sad to see this kind of thing happen.
But
ACL,
yeah,
ACL, I think.
Yeah. But overall, on a happier note, Vietnam gets the victory done. So all you Vietnamese fans out there, congratulations! You've now taken one back from your rivals, right? Who won it last time, Thailand, and obviously Thailand, well done as well on your end. It's been a fascinating I don't know what it's been, a month, I guess, for us covering this tournament. And we've really enjoyed watching it. The Mortal Kombat tournament, as our fans say. And, despite the fact that, the 8 teams weren't there, I think it's been fascinating to watch some of these new players and see this new talent. So I'll leave it to you guys for a quick final word, whoever wants to say it. But, for those who enjoyed these videos, please subscribe to the channel.
I'll let Roy have a final word in a second, but what a tournament. Pole-to-pole victory for Vietnam. We said they were the best team. They come out incredible victory, but also other discoveries, right? Philippines, what a performance for them this tournament. A lot of fun, a lot of drama, a lot of players we found that we didn't know of before, primarily this man himself, Rafaelson, who will never be called that anymore now, Roy. He will only be called by his Vietnamese name. He has cemented himself in the place, Mr. Win Xuan Son.
That's beautiful, Rocky. Beautiful words. I just want to give major shout outs to the teams that rose up in this tournament. Vietnam, what an absolutely brilliant final they played. Thailand, the journey to get there was incredible. The 2 teams that everyone expected to make it made it. And that says a lot, because when you have the pressure of the world and of the region and of your fans on your shoulders, and to still work with that pressure and make it to the final, that is monumental. Mad respect to both teams, but also teams like the Philippines, man. The Philippines shocked the world in this tournament. Arguably, they should have been in the final. I thought they had a brilliant semifinal. And the last team I want to give a shout out to, Indonesia, arguably my favorite team in the region. It was a tough tournament for them. It was a wake-up call. What I mentioned a few videos ago, Indonesia is doing brilliantly from a dual national perspective. They need to look at their academy programs. They need to look at their youth development, need to see how can they produce players like Xuan Son for this national team. So
yeah, naturalization, Roy. Naturalization, Roy.
That's the word.
That's the word.
Yes.
But
Cambodia.
Cambodia played well. Singapore had a couple good matches. But all right, so we will see Vietnam, Thailand, and Philippines all in the qualification for the Asian Cup. We'll talk about a separate video to talk about the qualifiers as they get started. And of course, we'll see Indonesia in the World Cup qualifying when that resumes. So for all y'all, keep watching Southeast Asian football. See y'all next time.